You are perhaps the greatest chess player. Soviet chess. In 1995 you became a chess master at the age of 22, on February 2 you defeated the Soviet master Karpov, the Kremlin chess player, and won the championship for 15 years. But today you have dedicated your life to human rights and the fight against the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. Why? I am fighting the Russian dictator and this is for me. The semantic difference is very important because as you speak, people think you can just start a political party, you can run a political campaign, you can raise funds, you can chat. No. This guy was in Russia. Nothing goes in politics without the full approval of the Kremlin, which tries to oppose everyone. Forced to leave this country like me, either in prison because I just want to know hundreds of people, or Boris even killed him. The arrest warrants of the former deputy prime minister shot in Moscow in 2015 and the list of those displaced by the regime are not in the book he celebrates every day. And Spartak in the 1980s is not in it. Just mention yourself. Worried how you will stay in the history of sport? Not just to support Russia. I don't even care about my place in sports history or history. He is not a dictator who writes history books. It always happens to people who oppose the dictator because it is a typical sign of any dictatorship. A natural instinct is to eliminate those who see the news. You can choose between history, books, newspapers, or publications. If a Western family is in the pro-Kremlin, the classic Bolshevik supplementary medium, are you threatened? What do people in Russia say about you? Every totalitarian regime always tries to pretend that the opponents who denounce the dictatorship can change, the Russians who support democracy and basic human rights, to work for the free world. We have defined what we call employers. After all, you know you are a part of it. Oh, the capitalist conspiracy in the world, the Jews conspired for the CIO of the Mossad no matter what. I don't care. So I know that I have my mind, I know that I'm never shy. The former KGB general said in 2007 that you were the next target on the Kremlin's blacklist. Are you afraid for your life? Locked? I'm afraid it will help. Suppose I'm worried but I know there is nothing I can do about it. When someone like Putin decides you're next on the list, whether or not you have protection is okay. I just do what I believe in, right? So that was it, even the dissidents acted, and that's what I've learned. It should be like that. I'm trying to be careful because of course I'm not going to go to these places, you know, they can grab me and send me to Russia. We now know that when you fly in the airspace of a country like Belarus, you may be taking you with you. There is another and final law on international gangs committed by Lukashenko Belo, a Russian dictator, I have no doubts. Putin fully supported it because it is a message. Basically, that's the message they're sending to the world, and we don't care. We can sign any contract, and if it breaks and we will. When people say, oh, look at Drumoin Protasevich. A young Belarusian activist has been arrested and now admits he was tortured. I heard in the free press that it is their unprofessional day, they tortured him and she had no hidey hotel, and torture ensued. And an idiot? What or diversity? They are not going to hide because they want you to see him tortured. It's a short story. We can arrest anyone. You know, it only works if you land on a knowledgeable plane. He has just committed an international crime, you can torture a person and force them to confess to all the crimes they did not commit. These are delusional crimes and everyone must remember that there is no protection. Keep looking at Europe, we're talking about European years, you know, when you are surrounded by a European Irish company that stole from one EU country to another hijacked European Irish company. What happened? Nothing. You tortured him and I tortured him, you know, Europe is still trying to hear his position on further sanctions against Belarus and some EU officials. I mean, you have a terror regime, it's little Hamas. It's not Al-Qaeda. It is a terror regime in Europe. What I soon did was nothing. Putin writes it. You are the main organizer of the so-called March and street protests in 2006 and 2007. You rested, then became a powerful political voice and even tried to run in 2008. The Russian presidential elections are real now. Russia's political opposition. I knew I couldn't even vote because there were too many bureaucracies and said I just wanted to show that even the famous Garry Kasparov. The state can't even defeat an opposition candidate. First obstacle to start. Yes, I was arrested, but only for 5 days. I was released several times but only stayed in prison for 5 days. So many people were arrested and then I was released and beaten today for demonstrating peacefully, so I have to stress what we did. 2006 to 2007 but the hustle and bustle of today. All is calm. We never knew the violence of the Russian opposition. That's not the case. As you know, you are going to see civil unrest in some cities in the United States or in Europe. Cars are burned, windows smashed, and shops looted. The only violent incident on the streets of Russia is that it is still the police regime. But today when you are calm you show his boots. Ian, you could end up sentenced to 5 years in prison. If you post a tweet or revitalize something or report on a blog that you may have been in jail for several years, you don't have to go out on the streets and get arrested. They just know that they are online more and more. Use it frequently. Let the people of Russia today realize that this is very important. It is a dictatorship of fascism that is not allowed. Different voices in the country. He urged Russian citizens to be 100% loyal. It also has a very aggressive foreign policy, including open invasions by neighboring countries. So the answer to your question is no. No, this is a blow to the heroic endeavors of the likes of race and anyone who knows who is resurrected but is going to jail. The only place in Russia that we can face. The regime is now in jail or out. Side President Biden called a Putin killer? Yes, you say he's a dictator and a thief, but it's very popular in Europe. Among certain politicians like Viktor Orban in Hungary or Marine Le Pen in France. Do you know what to give? And these guys don't know. I'm not going to say I'm going to give it to a thief. Petty means, you know, it's a little ladder. Putin. Master the happiness that makes everyone moan. Today, any political and financial wealth rooted in human history that is directly or indirectly controlled by humanity is equal. Probably raise $1 trillion, $1 trillion. If you look at the Russian state budget it controls, if you look at some of the resources of the Russian government, if you look at the wealth of the oligarchs and most of the oligarchs. If not all of the following, today's orders come as no surprise. The country we call a billionaire, Russia, needs to know that the well depends on Putin's favor, and even wealth depends on him. Stay in power because Russia is a poorly owned country. If there is something, the law doesn't protect it, you are just the power. Mafia land as a mafia. I always say that every country has its own cupcakes, but in Russia, math has its own country. I don't think a politician who supports Putin knows that. You mentioned that his open fans like big bags or pain. More than that. There is no doubt that, as you know, their party just started more painfully to accept Russian money and it is expected that more people will run in the French presidential election next year. I believe that Viktor Orban is also very attached to Russia. When he lost power because I still believe that Hungarian democracy will learn more about his secret association with Puja in Romania. Putin's influence is perhaps one of the worst in Europe. That is why Putin placed his political allies in his political allies' countries. Few countries do not have correct terms for political matters. You once said that he created a man to rule like Stalin, but he didn't go like Abramovich. What diet is that? I mean appointing a ruler or security forces and oligarchs who also control the country. Secret police agents or these people and these faces, people who really control the system in a lot of areas. That joke, you know, it's your memory. Now it's about Abramovich. The installation is largely a description of Putin's regime. You want to control everything. They don't want to resist, but they want to be rich, they want to live a luxurious life. So it is not a typical 20th century dictatorship. There is no ideology. It's more like the mafia knows they want a luxurious life but also want to use the most oppressive safeguards of the original power, so I always turn down such warnings. Oh, otherwise Putin could have done worse. No, it doesn't get worse, as it is the most dangerous single control system because it is. The system is built around it. It's the backbone of the system. Yes, sure, he relies on other political forces out there, be it the KGB or GLU or some other bureaucratic force, the only guard, but the only omnipotence you know is Debbie, or he can decide. We don't know how much money we are really talking about. It can be trillions of dollars found in Russia in the free world. Incidentally, the money does not stay in China and is not put on anyone's shoulders. But in free they know where to put the money in order to protect it from possible expropriation. He tried to protect these funds and protect the interests of the Russian ruling group in the free world. They store the funds there and protect any crimes they commit in the country. It's an important part of the system, it's loyalty. Everyone knows it. Loyalty is essential. So as long as you load a system that you can still have in Russia, you will be protecting the free world. So the leaders of the Freedom Committee are really making sure that Putin's system is very important and prone to the world's greatest challenges. World. It's simple advice. Follow the money. As long as they feel that Putin offers them full protection, they will not oppose him. So you think he turned his strategist into a chess player? He carefully planned every move. Do you think so? No, I never said that. Because strategy means that you have a long-term plan. Putin believes that with the rise of far-right parties, Portuguese is an opportunity in Europe. He took this opportunity to create discord in the United States, and he did. So he invented Trump, but he's used to it. So now he is simply looking for new opportunities because he has to push the dictator into unbearable steel. He has yet to prove that he has invincible control. It is the means to project one's power in the country and in other regions. Now he has asked to meet at the top. At this point, Putin has once again proven to the world that he is indispensable. Oh, whatever happens on June 16th. Geneva won this round because there are conferences. As long as the President of the United States has a duty to meet with him. He doesn't care about the outcome of the conference, especially after you called him the killer of the organization. That's great, great. I'm a killer, you have no choice but to understand me, which means that I'm here, I'm killing, this is a great thing. Suppose I am not built for this. So it's me they know how to cheer every dictator for the past 15 years. He encouraged Mourinho to keep attacking the free world. Maybe it started against Ukraine. That mixture, the war against the United States. Besides, this is not surprising. Because Biden announced that he would meet with Putin. There were 2 attacks or critical American infrastructure. In the beginning. Pipeline, one against the meat packaging industry, led to 2 hacking attacks in Russia because an American announced a meeting to take me down, and if I hear such nonsense, I'll bite them. Oh, we know the tax comes from Russia, but it has nothing to do with the Russian government. I'm just kidding. Everything that happened in Russia has nothing to do with him. Bring it on. That's all, but the biggest hostages are their own short-sighted stupidity. Speaking of mixed problems, why are the Russians so good at spreading these messages, these fake news, these compromised but linked village weapons? How are they so good? You are good at everything. If you have not practiced it in many years, Russian intelligence will be inherited by the Soviet Union, starting with Bolshevism, and the Soviet system from KGB to KGB. So for almost 100 years experts have been promoting attacks on allies in the free world. They are spreading all these false stories, and of course there is new technology, but they are not. You know they have such good things. But you know they have the political will. They don't care about their careers, they don't care that they don't have to or shouldn't ask about Parliament's reputation. Concerns about the free media that are following them. They say loyalty is the glue that holds the rule of life for these types of thieves. Oligarch and head of Siloviki. He also seems to have offered a deal with the Russians. See if you are staying away from politics and not getting involved in politics. I will ensure a better quality of life. Is it real or it's just that the people in the present are the future that Russians really look forward to? Yes, it is. It was a deal 20 years ago, and it worked because of high oil prices for the first decade. Putin can offer the Russians better living conditions until 2012 to 2014. That's it, it's on the table, that's the deal. This ensures the social indifference of the masses. Fair, so many of our actions. You know the direct disagreements and the demonstrations. They failed because most of them didn't care. But after the occupation of Crimea, the incorporation of Crimea into the Ukrainian world and the opening of the hybrid war game free world, things changed. It's not the same transaction today. You know, if you don't want to be in politics you have to be loyal, so Putin's first regime was tough, but authoritarianism means you can't do well in politics. So totalitarianism means that they need to know that they need to control your mind. If you are already in danger and not loyal enough, even official Kremlin statistics go down when you look at the standard of living of the Russian people. Not as good as it was a few years ago. So you see the numbers. Did you know the numbers are falling? Support numbers again. I'm not looking for any, you know, secret sticks, official credit numbers, shows. By the way, Putin's severe loss of popularity doesn't pique his interest because there is such a powerful machine behind him. And I think by powering that machine we are talking about millions of people intimidating other locals. For him, he can still be in power for a long time. And Japan. The TV commercials Bray or Koreko Vista. Under which Souza Notori are online. Are above all the conspirators of the Capitola department, the publication bullets in the identity cards of journalists in Bucharest, with accounts, or falsified, each model is Daniel Bolad. SISD will argue to the system that opera is a different era of actors and wheelchairs. Kundun sprayed or photographed Laozi Qatar in Rome. Verdun commented that the Cadaval apron allows Caro Quintero of Mexico to personally check the dose of the monopoly parrot population, especially erotic and median. The sun and the clouds destroy Chris, the bouquet. Violet, C activates our partners. My employer is actually from his affiliate group. Reads Facebook. A committed local community. In the public article. The phone has a poster. A cheap LV Daniel Bolad. A show or segregation, not identity Cosmovicti, in the Endicott Academy Les Democrats take or break. I'm in Turku and Natalia teaches a professor's products in her own studio. So registration, which category is not a profitable identity business? A new strategy for land animal machines. So from Julia. My vegetarian reaches for this information to sort out jugs, translate potentially specific incorrect information, and draw our attention to controversial masters. Someone doing a lot of bilateral and potential public health ACS on venting, just like what the therapist calls Programme Dupendra. Seminar shock entry-level training strategy, curbing speculation, has reached a huge model Rhiannon. On V, protect the memory of the streets in Hungary. All major polls in Dodge Memorial Great Dane. When you add a new song you know Patrol is Richard. Gary really believes that Catriona Narayana has left that seat. Her daughter is doing alchemy in Zurich and doing a PhD in Surrey like a chicken. Visible simulation background of Nevada's footprint massage. Public health chooses the control in since the Kremlin EST. Un area pottery to Bundy is the investor of Minera Transcarpathia. The wine line is even coaxial in parallel, you know, we used to be in Crimea, GS2, Crane said. Crane is the 3 most sought after acoustic guitars and wedding rings after giving birth. Yesterday I took part in the Soviet Teachers' Day Aki and Transcarpathia Masajuna from the Crimea. Russia and Emilio's aggression were equally right. An article Curry, Dosage, an article about the victims of Gloria and Nochtsuda. In particular, Ramesh 3 broadcasts live tracks for old shows or OC Rex. Like GT speakers. Dear. Oh my god, drink Coke now. Nikita. Khrushchev is in this creamy republic. This Soviet Ukraine, Cha-Cha-Dus, eventually became popular in remote areas of Tata. See the shark at 68, the temperature. Nietzsche, Magari, make a false positive metaphor, in relation to this message you are just an echo and you cry. I chased Nietzsche into the yard. Isaac was following me. She tore it off. The American Dean Potter surprised him with a capacitive, distinctive, down-to-earth, and wrong question. Pepper did well when he left the college study studio. I also allow you to say that the Washington level must be Sundershwara X, each of which is a credit card or invalid information, master. Soon they will become a new Sevastopol school. It replaced my big spoon. Below is the prince's fake news from our studio. My erotic sympathy and I saw my fragile Republicans import dirty poppies. Democritus.